The stars held no warning of betrayal on the day humanity's faith in galactic civilization died. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the ESS Hyperion, watching the crystalline spires of New Alexandria glitter beneath Etheria's twin suns. The Etherians had been humanity's first true alien allies, their civilization a beacon of scientific advancement and philosophical wisdom that had helped guide Earth's first steps into the galactic community. "Another masterpiece of architecture," remarked Dr. James Torres, the ship's cynoanthropologist. He gestured toward a newly constructed research facility that seemed to grow from the planet's surface like a blooming flower made of light and metal. The Aetherian ability to merge organic principles with advanced engineering never ceases to amaze me. Chen nodded, but her attention was drawn to something else: the unusual number of conclave vessels entering the system. The Galactic Conclave, a coalition of the oldest spacefaring races, had always maintained a presence in major systems. But this was different. Their ships moved with purpose, forming patterns that stirred something in her military training. "Command, this is Chen," she spoke into her comm. "Are we tracking the increased conclave activity?" "Affirmative, Commander," came the reply. "They're claiming it's a routine inspection of Aetherian research facilities. Our Aetherian contacts confirmed they were notified. But something felt wrong. The Aetherians had shared their concerns with Earth about the Conclave's growing demands for access to their bioengineering research. The Conclave claimed it was about maintaining technological parity among member species, but the Aetherians' advances in sustainable technology and medical science had made many powerful entities nervous. Chen's instincts screamed for action just as the first energy signatures flared. The Conclave ship's weapon systems were powering up. "Battle stations," she barked, already running toward the bridge. "All hands, combat positions. Get me a direct line to Earth Command." The next few minutes became chaos. The Conclave ships opened fire not on the Hyperion, but on Aetherian cities. Their weapons, far more powerful than anything they'd ever publicly displayed, carved through planetary shields that should have been impenetrable. "They're using resonance weapons," reported Lieutenant Kira Patel, her voice tight with horror. "The shields, they're not just failing, they're being turned into feedback loops. The energy is cascading back into the generator networks." Chen watched in helpless rage as New Alexandria's defenses collapsed, the city's beautiful spires crumbling under bombardment. Emergency broadcasts filled their comms. The attacks were happening simultaneously across all Aetherian worlds. "Get me Admiral Winters," Chen demanded, knowing that humanity's response to this would shake the galaxy's future. "And start evacuating as many Aetherians as we can fit aboard. Now." The Hyperion's hangar bays opened, rescue shuttles launching even as more Conclave ships entered the system. But they weren't firing on the human vessel. They were ignoring it completely, confident in their overwhelming force. "Commander," Torres whispered, his face ashen as he watched the destruction. "Why aren't they even acknowledging us?" Chen's jaw tightened. "Because they don't consider us a threat, Doctor. They think we're too young, too weak to dare challenge them." Her hands clenched on the command chair's arms. "They're about to learn otherwise." The next 12 hours became a desperate race against time. The Hyperion, along with other human ships in nearby systems, rescued as many Aetherians as they could. But it was a tiny fraction of a civilization being systematically erased. When Admiral Winters finally appeared on the command screen, his expression was granite. "Commander Chen, you are hereby authorized to engage in rescue operations only. Do not, I repeat, do not engage Conclave forces directly. Sir, they're committing genocide. And if we attack now, we'll be destroyed without saving anyone." Winters replied, each word carved from ice. "But I promise you this, Earth will not forget. We will not forgive. Every second of this massacre is being recorded, and we will make them pay for each one. Now save who you can, Commander. That's an order." Chen obeyed, but as she watched the systematic destruction of humanity's closest allies, she knew the galaxy had fundamentally changed. The Conclave had revealed its true nature, a coalition of predators masquerading as peacekeepers, willing to destroy entire civilizations that threatened their dominance. But they had made a fatal mistake. They had assumed humanity's youth meant weakness. They had forgotten that young species hunger for justice, that they haven't yet learned to accept atrocity as simply the way of things. As the Hyperion filled with refugees, as the crew worked tirelessly to save who they could, Shen made a silent promise to the dying world below. This would not stand. Humanity had been introduced to the galaxy's true face, and they would respond not with fear, but with righteous fury. The Conclave had wanted to teach the younger races their place. Instead, they had sown the seeds of their own destruction, and humanity would be the hand that reaped their bitter harvest. 6 months after the Aetherian massacre, Earth's military command center beneath the Rocky Mountains hummed with controlled fury. Fleet Admiral Helena Winters stood before a holographic display showing the remains of the Aetherian civilization, each destroyed world marked in blood red. The Conclave miscalculated. She addressed the assembled military leadership. They thought destroying our allies would weaken us. Instead, they'd given us something far more dangerous than advanced technology. They'd given us purpose. The room's lighting cast harsh shadows across faces hardened by months of preparation. Humanity had not been idle during their apparent inaction. Every shipyard across the solar system worked at full capacity, and colonies as far as Proxima Centauri had been converted into military production facilities. Admiral, General Marcus Jung interrupted, his weathered face grave. The Aetherian survivors have completed their analysis of the Conclave's weapon systems. What they've revealed is troubling. The holographic display shifted, showing detailed scans of the resonance weapons that had torn through Aetherian defenses. Dr. Kaya Ven, one of the few surviving Aetherian scientists, stepped forward. Her crystalline skin had lost some of its luster in the months since her world's destruction, but her voice remained clear and strong. The weapons used against our worlds were developed using our own research, she said, each word precise and heavy with meaning. Research that the Conclave demanded we share in the name of technological equity. They took our work on harmonic energy transmission and perverted it into a weapon of mass destruction. The revelation sent a cold wave through the room. The Conclave's betrayal ran deeper than mere violence. They had turned the Aetherians' own peaceful advances against them. Commander Sarah Chen, recently promoted after her actions during the evacuation, spoke up from her position near the back. How many other species have they stripped of their innovations? How many other massacres have they planned? We've been analyzing historical records, replied Colonel Diana Rivera, head of intelligence. The pattern goes back centuries. The Conclave allows emerging civilizations to develop until they reach a certain threshold, then either absorbs or eliminates them. The Aetherians were targeted because they shared their advances too freely, especially with us. Admiral Winters nodded grimly. They saw our partnership with the Aetherians as a threat to their control. But they've never faced a species like humanity before. We don't just adapt, we evolve. And we've spent these 6 months evolving specifically to defeat them. The holographic display changed again, showing new ship designs and weapon systems. Humanity had taken the Aetherian survivors' knowledge and combined it with their own aggressive innovation. Where the Aetherians had sought harmony, humanity found ways to create discord. Where the Conclave expected submission, they would find resistance. The Hyperion's recordings of the massacre have been shared across every human world and colony. Winters continued. Our people are united in purpose. The shipyards are ready. The crews are trained. Now we show the galaxy that humanity remembers its debts. Dr. Ven stepped forward again, her crystalline form catching the light. My people believed in peaceful coexistence above all else. We thought the galaxy could be governed by wisdom and shared knowledge. Her voice carried the weight of lost worlds. We were wrong, but perhaps our legacy can live on through humanity's strength, not just in victory, but in building something better from the ashes of what the Conclave destroyed. Commander Chen studied the tactical displays, noting the deployment patterns of Conclave forces. They still didn't see humanity as a threat, their ships maintaining standard patrol routes. Their arrogance would be their undoing. Operation Nemesis begins in 72 hours, Admiral Winters announced. The Conclave believes they've taught us our place in the galaxy. It's time to show them how wrong they are. As the meeting concluded, Chen found herself standing next to Dr. Ven, watching the holographic planets spin slowly in the dim light. Your people sought to lift others up through knowledge and cooperation, Chen said softly. We'll honor that legacy. But first, we'll show the Conclave that humanity protects its friends, no matter the cost. Dr. Ven's crystalline features shifted in what Chen had learned was a smile. Perhaps this is the balance the galaxy needs. The Aetherians' wisdom guided by humanity's fierce loyalty. Together, we might forge something new from this tragedy. Outside the mountain complex, the sun set behind the Rockies, painting the sky in shades of fire. In 72 hours, that fire would spread across the stars, carried by ships built with vengeance, and crewed by those who refused to accept injustice as the natural order. The price of trust had been paid in Aetherian lives. The cost of betrayal would be paid in Conclave blood. The Conclave's primary shipyards at Centauri Prima spread across an entire solar system, a sprawling network of construction facilities and defense platforms that had stood unconquered for millennia. Commander Sarah Chen watched through the Hyperion's quantum sensors as the massive complex continued its routine operations, unaware that humanity's vengeance was about to be unleashed. All ships report ready, Lieutenant Potil announced, her voice steady despite the tension filling the bridge. Stealth systems holding. The Conclave's sensors aren't detecting us. The human fleet had approached using technology derived from Aetherian cloaking research, another gift their allies had shared before their destruction. But humanity had modified it, just as they had modified everything else. Where the Aetherians used it for scientific observation, humanity had weaponized it. Send the signal, Chen ordered. All ships, execute primary attack pattern. Across the system, 300 human vessels dropped their stealth fields simultaneously. The Hyperion, now heavily modified with experimental weapons, led the charge toward the nearest shipyard. Conclave defense stations began powering up, but their response was sluggish. They hadn't had to deal with a real threat in centuries. They're broadcasting demands for our surrender, Paddle reported, a hint of dark amusement in her voice. Send them our response, Chen commanded. The Hyperion's main gun fired, a beam of concentrated chaos energy, derived from the Aetherians' harmonic research, but twisted into something that created destruction instead of harmony. The beam struck the nearest defense platform, and instead of being stopped by its shields, it caused them to implode, crushing the station into a singularity that lasted just long enough to pull in 2 nearby platforms before collapsing. By the stars, breathed Dr. Torres, who had insisted on remaining aboard for the operation. We've weaponized their own shield technology against them. The battle erupted across the system as human ships struck with precision and fury. The Conclave's defenders scrambled to respond, but centuries of unchallenged dominance had left them unprepared. Their formations were textbook perfect but inflexible, their tactics unchanged for generations. Multiple Conclave capital ships approaching from the outer system, Paddle reported. They're calling for reinforcements. Chen allowed herself a grim smile. Right on schedule. Admiral Winters, they've taken the bait. The holographic image of Admiral Winters appeared on the bridge. Confirmed, Commander. Phase 2 is go. Show them what humanity's been working on. The Hyperion's engines flared as it charged directly at the approaching Conclave fleet. The massive alien vessels opened fire, their energy weapons powerful enough to vaporize small moons. But the Hyperion's new shields, based on Aetherian principles, but modified by human ingenuity, didn't just absorb the attacks, they redirected them. Return to sender, Chen ordered. The Hyperion's shield matrix pulsed, sending the accumulated energy back at the Conclave ships in a devastating wave. 3 capital ships were caught in the blast, their own weapons' energy tearing through their defenses. But this was just the beginning. Throughout the system, other human vessels were implementing similarly modified technologies. Fighters launched from the ESS Thermopylae used gravity manipulation to turn debris into projectiles, while the ESS Nemesis deployed swarms of nanites that targeted conclave shield generators with ruthless efficiency. "Commander," Patel called out, "we're detecting quantum signatures. More conclave reinforcements incoming." "Perfect." Chen's expression was fierce. "Signal the Tartarus squadron. Time to show them our final surprise." As the conclave reinforcements emerged from quantum space, they found themselves face to face with a new horror. Human ships equipped with experimental quantum disruption fields created zones where faster-than-light travel became impossible. The arriving conclave vessels were caught mid-transition, their quantum drives failing catastrophically. Multiple conclave ships breaking formation, Paddle reported, unable to keep the satisfaction from her voice. "They're retreating." But retreat wasn't part of humanity's plan. The human fleet moved in perfect coordination, herding the surviving conclave ships toward prepared kill zones. Ships that had once been peaceful research vessels, now transformed by humanity's need for justice, unleashed weapons that the conclave had never imagined possible. "Message from Admiral Winters," Patel announced. "The rest of the fleet reports similar successes across all target zones. The conclave's shipyard network is crippled." Chen watched as the last conclave capital ship in their sector attempted to flee, only to be caught in a crossfire between human vessels. "Send word to all ships. Secure any survivors for interrogation. We need to know every secret they've stolen from the species they've destroyed." As the battle wound down, Dr. Torres approached Chen's command station. "The Aetherians were philosophers and scientists," he said quietly. "They believed in using technology to elevate all species. I wonder what they would think of how we've adapted their work." Chen thought of Dr. Ven and the other survivors, of their lost worlds and destroyed civilization. "They believed in making the galaxy better," she replied. "Sometimes that means removing those who would destroy everything good in it. This isn't just revenge, it's justice." The Hyperion sensors showed the extent of the devastation. The greatest shipyard complex in known space reduced to debris in a matter of hours. But more importantly, they showed something else. Fear spreading through conclave communication channels as they realized that humanity wasn't just fighting back. They were winning. "Send word to Earth," Chen ordered. "Operation Nemesis is a success. The conclave's military production capability has been reduced by 60%. We're ready for Phase 2. The message was sent, carrying with it humanity's declaration. The galaxy would never again be ruled by those who confused age with wisdom, or power with right. A new order was coming, forged in the fire of human vengeance, but tempered by Aetherian wisdom. The conclave capital system of Omnera burned, not with the quick, consuming flames of conventional warfare, but with the cold fire of quantum disruption fields and reality-warping weapons. The largest space battle in recorded history had been raging for 3 days, and the void itself seemed to cry out in protest. Commander Sarah Chen, now Fleet Commander Chen, stood aboard the bridge of the newly commissioned ESS Retribution, a vessel that represented the pinnacle of human military engineering merged with Aetherian principles. The massive view screen showed thousands of ships locked in combat across the system. "Status report," Chen demanded, her voice carrying the weight of endless battles fought to reach this point. "Conclave forces are falling back to their secondary defense line," reported Captain Maya Singh, her former XO from the Hyperion. "Their losses are significant, but they're still fighting with everything they have." The battle had drawn in every major power in the galaxy. Some fought alongside the Conclave out of fear or obligation, while others had seized the opportunity to break free from millennia of oppression. Humanity's success had given hope to dozens of subjugated species. "New quantum signatures detected," announced Lieutenant Commander Patel, promoted after her exemplary service during Operation Nemesis. The Conclave is deploying their reserve fleet. The reserve fleet was legendary. Ships of such power that their very existence had kept potential rebels in line for centuries. Now they emerged from quantum space like leviathans, their ancient hulls adorned with the spoils of 1,000 conquered civilizations. They're desperate. Admiral Winter's hologram flickered to life on the bridge. This is their last line of defense. All ships, execute Protocol Omega. Show them what humanity has learned from their mistakes. Chen nodded grimly. All ships, battle formation Delta. Deploy the Harmony Disruptors. The Harmony Disruptors were humanity's ultimate weapon, born from the fusion of Aetherian science and human determination. They didn't destroy ships or kill crews. They did something far worse. They severed the connection between ships and their quantum cores, rendering the most powerful vessels in space into drifting hulks. Multiple Conclave dreadnoughts approaching, Paddle reported. They're charging their main weapons. Let them come, Chen ordered. All ships, hold position. The Conclave dreadnoughts opened fire, their energy weapons carving lines of fire through space. But humanity had learned from every battle, every loss, every victory. The human fleet's shields didn't just absorb the assault, they transformed it. Return fire, Chen commanded. Show them what their own weapons can do when turned against them. The battle erupted into new levels of intensity. Human ships moved with unprecedented coordination, their tactics evolving mid-battle as artificial intelligence systems analyzed and adapted to Conclave strategies that had remained unchanged for millennia. Commander, Dr. Torres called from his science station. We're detecting unusual energy signatures from the Conclave flagship. They're attempting something we haven't seen before. Before Chen could respond, space itself seemed to twist. The Conclave flagship, a vessel larger than some moons, was channeling power through technologies stolen from a dozen dead civilizations. They're trying to create a controlled quantum collapse, Torres warned. If they succeed, it could tear this entire system apart. Chen's mind raced through options. The Conclave was willing to destroy everything rather than accept defeat. It was the ultimate expression of their corruption. Power at any cost. All ships, full power to quantum stabilizers, she ordered. Dr. Torres, could we use the Harmony Disruptors to counter their quantum collapse? Theoretically, yes, but we'd need to modify the frequency to match their output exactly. One mistake, and we could make the collapse worse. Send the calculations to my station, Chen demanded. The numbers flowed across her screen. Complex quantum mathematics that would have been incomprehensible months ago, before humanity's crash course in advanced physics. She made her decision. All ships equipped with Harmony Disruptors, synchronize with the retribution. Target the quantum collapse point. Fire on my mark. The next few moments stretched into eternity. The Conclave flagship's attempt to tear reality apart battled against humanity's desperate countermeasure. Space itself seemed to hold its breath. Then, with a flash that temporarily blinded every sensor in the system, the quantum energies canceled each other out. The Conclave flagship, drained of power, drifted helplessly. Multiple surrenders being broadcast, Pidal announced, her voice tight with emotion. The Conclave, they're standing down. The bridge erupted in cheers, but Chen remained focused. Secure their leadership. All ships, maintain battle positions. This isn't over until we've ensured they can never do this again. As the human fleet moved to accept the Conclave's surrender, Chen thought of the Aetherians, of their destroyed worlds and scattered people. Victory hadn't brought them back, but it had ensured their sacrifice wasn't in vain. Send word to Earth, she ordered. The heart of the storm has passed. The Conclave has fallen. A new dawn awaits. 1 year after the Battle of Omnara, the Great Hall of the newly established Galactic Assembly hummed with activity. Fleet Commander Sarah Chen stood before the gathered representatives of 100 species, her dress uniform adorned with the medals and scars of a war that had reshaped the known universe. The chamber itself was a testament to change. Built from the ruins of the Conclave's former seat of power, It incorporated elements from every member species. Aetherian crystal spires rose alongside human steel and glass, while the architecture of dozens of other civilizations blended into a harmonious whole. "We gather here not to celebrate victory," Chen began, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber, "but to ensure that the mistakes of the past are never repeated." The assembled delegates included former conclave members who had surrendered or switched sides, recently liberated species eager to claim their place among the stars, and representatives of humanity's colonies. But most poignant were the Aetherian survivors, their crystalline forms catching the light as they sat in places of honor. "The Conclave's leaders have been tried for their crimes," Chen continued. "Their weapons have been destroyed, their stolen technologies returned to their rightful owners. But justice is not merely about punishment. It's about building something better from the ashes of what was destroyed." Dr. Kayaven, now the head of the new Galactic Science Council, stepped forward to join Chen at the podium. "The Aetherian people believed in sharing knowledge to elevate all species," she said, her voice resonating with both sorrow and hope. "That dream did not die with our worlds. It lives on in this assembly, where all voices are heard and all contributions valued." The holographic displays around the chamber activated, showing the progress already made. The Harmony Disruptors, once weapons of war, had been repurposed for peaceful applications, stabilizing dangerous quantum phenomena and making space travel safer. Former Conclave shipyards now produced vessels of exploration and commerce. Admiral Winters, her hair now more gray than black, addressed the assembly next. Humanity entered the galactic stage as students, learning from the Aetherians. "We became warriors when circumstances demanded it. Now we must learn to be builders, guardians of a peace won at terrible cost." The assembly chamber's design incorporated a memorial at its heart, a quantum field that displayed the names of every world and species destroyed by the Conclave's reign. It served as a constant reminder of the price of unchecked power and the importance of vigilance. "The challenge before us," Chen continued, "is not just maintaining peace, but fostering understanding. The Conclave maintained order through fear and suppression. We must do better. We must create a society where advancement comes through cooperation, not competition, where knowledge is shared, not hoarded." Dr. Torres, who had documented every step of humanity's journey from victims to victors, stood to present his findings. "We've discovered that the Conclave's fall was inevitable. Any system built on suppression and fear eventually collapses. What we build now must be founded on stronger principles." The new Galactic Assembly had been carefully designed to prevent the concentration of power that had corrupted the Conclave. No single species could dominate the Council. Military forces were distributed and jointly commanded. Technology and knowledge were shared openly, with safeguards to prevent weaponization. "But perhaps most importantly," Chen said, her voice softening, "we must remember. Remember the Aetherians, who showed us the best of what civilization could be. Remember the price of complacency and the cost of allowing tyranny to go unchallenged. Remember that justice delayed is not justice denied." As she spoke, the quantum memorial pulsed with gentle light, each name a testament to both loss and hope. The Aetherian representatives rose, their crystalline forms resonating in harmony with the memorial field. "The galaxy enters a new age," Chen concluded, "one born in fire but dedicated to peace, one that honors the past while building toward a better future." The Conclave thought they could teach us our place in the universe. Instead, they taught us that every species, every world, has the right to forge its own destiny. The assembly chamber filled with light as the combined technology of 100 species created a display of unprecedented beauty, a representation of the galaxy itself, each star a point of light, each civilization a unique color in a vast cosmic tapestry. "Let this be our legacy," Chen declared. "Not just the victory we won, but the peace we build. Not just the vengeance we took, but the justice we establish. Not just the power we gained, but the wisdom with which we use it." As the assembly concluded its historic first session, Chen found herself standing with Dr. Ven in the memorial garden outside. The quantum field had been extended here, creating an eternal twilight filled with the names of the lost. "Your people would be proud," Chen said softly. "We couldn't save them, but we ensured they didn't die in vain." Dr. Ven's crystalline form shifted in what Chen had long ago learned was a smile. "They are proud," she replied. "Not just of the victory, but of what comes after." In ending the Conclave's reign of terror, humanity proved itself worthy of the trust we placed in them. In building this assembly, you've proven yourselves worthy of leading the galaxy into a new era. Above them, the stars shone with renewed promise. The galaxy was entering an unprecedented age of cooperation and advancement. The Conclave's fall had cleared the way for something new, something better. A civilization built not on fear and domination, but on the shared dreams of all species who dared to reach for the stars. The dawn of a new era had arrived, and its light would shine for millennia to come.